From the Center for Investigative Reporting and PRX, this is Reveal. Do you remember that sound? The first time you heard it, it was a wondrous, weird beckoning to an undiscovered world, the internet. After a while, though, it got irritating. The connections and disconnections, the waiting, and now that sound, that dial-up sound, is downright arcane. These days, most of us are on the internet the minute we click on our browser. It's become a part of our lives. President Obama says fast internet is critical, a utility as vital as electricity.
Today, high-speed broadband is not a luxury, it's a necessity.
But thousands of cities and towns across the country don't have the kind of fast service the flashy ads promise us.
I bring fiber optics right to your door on 3 different spectrums of light.
All we wanted was affordable internet. Do we have to buy additional products?
High speed means no slow downs. 30 megs, I like the way that sounds.
Some cities have taken things into their own hands. 400 of them have built their own high-speed broadband networks. The telecom giants, though, are fighting back. Here's Allan Holmes from the Center for Public Integrity with our story.
Walking through historic downtown Fayetteville, North Carolina doesn't take very long. It's about 6 blocks of antique stores, cafes, and offices. For the past 20 years, the city has spent millions of dollars to revitalize its downtown. But many of the buildings are still vacant, and the city's unemployment numbers are among the highest in the state. And there's something that's making it tough to attract businesses here.
Everybody's having problems with the internet here. It's still slow as molasses.
Pat Wright owns Moonlight Communications. They make video programs for customers all over the U.S. She says high-speed internet here is spotty.
For a business like ours, we upload and download video all the time. And when we don't have good, strong connection, for maybe a 5-minute program, it could take 3 hours, or we can't do it at all.
What's the response you've gotten from Time Warner when you've asked them to put cable in?
They say that it's impossible, that there's no hub over here, that they can't connect us, and they just throw up roadblocks. They don't even act like it's a possibility in the near future.
Slow internet service affects people all across town, including a few miles from here at Dr. Eric Mansfield's busy ear, nose, and throat practice.
So open it for me. How's your sleeping?
Every once in a while.
We found Mansfield examining one of his young patients.
So you have these things in your nose here. Since you're going to be a scientist, you have these things in your nose called turbinates.
Mansfield says he sees 40 to 50 patients a day, and he keeps all of their records online in the cloud. He bought the most expensive plan that Time Warner Cable offers, but he says the internet at his medical practice often shuts down.
There are periods of the day where all of our, we have 19 workstations. All 19 workstations will pause. And I'm seeing one patient every 10 minutes. And right in the middle of you looking at their record before you walk in, you have nothing.
Mansfield says he's coping in his office, but the same thing happens in the nearby hospital where he does surgery.
If broadband goes down in your hospital, that's a crisis. You can't run down the hall or run down 3 flights of steps to get information. While that was the standard of care 20, 25 years ago, is not the standard of care now.
There is a solution to the internet problem in Fayetteville. The city owns 200 miles of fiber optic cable. That cable connects city offices and monitors electricity, sewer, and water. It runs in front of almost every house and business here, but nobody has access to it. That's because North Carolina has a law that makes it virtually impossible for cities to create their own broadband network. Eric Mansfield practices medicine, but in the past he was also a state senator for Cumberland County. That's when he tried to persuade lawmakers to allow Fayetteville residents to hook into the city's superfast network. He lost, he says, because the telecom industry just has too much power in North Carolina.
There's no doubt in my mind that the campaign contributions persuade legislators. And in this case, I believe that Time Warner Cable felt very threatened as far as market share. And so they pushed through an agenda, and because they had way more dollars than Cumberland County, it won.
Time Warner Cable wouldn't talk to us about its lobbying efforts or about anything else. The Center for Public Integrity analyzed the money Time Warner and other telecom giants spend in state legislatures. We found that in the past 2 decades, the industry has given $118 million to state lawmakers' campaigns nationwide. North Carolina is among the top 10.
There are a lot of people that live their life very happily without broadband, without the internet.
Meet North Carolina State Representative Marilyn Avila. On the list of campaign donations from the telecom industry, she ranks 6th in the state. Avila was the one who sponsored that law that makes it harder for cities to build their own broadband networks. But, she says, money doesn't influence her policy decisions. For her, it's about competition and being fair to the private sector.
If a community goes to Time Warner Cable, AT&T, CenturyLink, and say, look, we need this to be able to attract business, they feel that if they say no, why can't we do it? Because we have to do something or else we're going to die.
If it was a utility like the sewer and water, if it was a utility like your electricity, and that critical to people's lives, everybody would be signed up for it. Companies go into areas because it will give them a return on their investment. It's just not going to be economically feasible. I mean, that's a sad fact, but it's an economic fact.
Hundreds of cities and towns across the U.S. already run their own broadband networks. We wanted to see how they were doing, so we traveled 500 miles west to check out Tullahoma, Tennessee, a small city where they've had high-speed internet for several years. Steve Cope is the former mayor of Tullahoma. He helped make it happen. Cope says the city's superfast broadband, or big pipes as some people call it, is attracting new business to Tullahoma. In recent years, the rate of job growth here has doubled the state average.
We're competing at the same rate now as the larger cities throughout Tennessee and the country because of the gigabyte capability of Tullahoma.
The network in Little Tullahoma is actually twice as fast as what's offered in major cities like New York or Los Angeles. Those speeds are the major reason the high-tech firm Adjacent came to Tullahoma. Cameron Newton is the investor who brought the company here.
The responsiveness of the software is very, very fast. It allows us to host data from many, many different customers all over the globe that can be accessed instantaneously. So without the pipe, without the broadband, it makes no sense to host a company here.
When Newton says very fast, he means it. We found that Tullahoma's broadband network is up to 80 times faster than what the private companies offer here. It's also cheaper. And we saw that same pattern in all the other cities in Tennessee that have their own broadband networks. There's also another advantage. Tullahoma residents tell us competition has improved the rates of the commercial providers, and AT&T and Charter Communications now have lowered their prices. But not everybody has access to Tullahoma's fast and cheap internet. That's because Tennessee law prohibits cities from offering that service outside city limits.
Okay, let's come in from the front where you can see.
Real estate broker Frida Jones shows us a house for sale just outside of Tullahoma.
Okay, this home is located in Strawberry Ridge in Coffee County, and it's been on the market for approximately 7 months. We've had to reduce the price by $60,000, and one of the reasons is because of the lack of broadband.
AT&T and Charter Communications offer broadband service a few hundred feet from here, but not on this street. That makes State Senator Janice Bowling mad.
Without high-speed broadband, our industrial development, our job recruitment ends up being electrified cow pastures, calling them industrial parks.
Last year, Bowling introduced a bill that would allow Tullahoma and other Tennessee cities to expand their broadband networks, but it failed. The telecom lobby pushed back hard, she says, including a threat of a lawsuit by AT&T. This is what she told the company.
My legislation is not mandating that you go into every hill and holler of Tennessee to provide high-speed broadband. We're just saying where your business plan has not allowed you to go, we've got to provide these people with the essential utility of the 21st century, high-speed broadband.
In Tennessee, the telecom industry is considered one of the most powerful lobbying forces in the state. At the top of that list is AT&T. Neither AT&T nor Charter Communications would speak to us. But now the battle over public broadband is about to get ugly. The Federal Communications Commission, which regulates the big telecoms, will decide whether to block the restrictive laws in North Carolina and Tennessee. That decision could determine how the industry operates and who gets access to the internet in America. President Obama has already said what he wants.
This isn't just about making it easier to stream Netflix or scroll through your Facebook newsfeed, although that's fun, and it is frustrating if you're waiting for a long time before the thing finally comes up. This is about helping local businesses grow and prosper and compete in a global economy.
The telecom industry has promised a major fight. Just look at the numbers. Last year alone, Big Telecom spent almost $90 million lobbying federal regulators and members of Congress. And the companies have millions more to spend on lawsuits. For Reveal, I'm Allan Holmes with the Center for Public Integrity.
Rachel Gottbaum produced that story. Allan Holmes has been reporting on the fight over municipal broadband for the last year. You can find links to CPI's investigation at revealnews.org. Listen, we really hope your internet is fast enough to reach us on Facebook and Twitter, and visit our website at revealnews.org. Even at dial-up speeds, you will enjoy it. I guarantee it.